Hello everybody, I come to you on my bedroom floor with the mess that I kind of admit that I've got an issue. There's mess all over the place. But anyway, it's that time again where I talk you guys through the books that I read during January. So I'm actually happy. It was a really productive reading month for me. I am shocked at how much I got read, and I'm really happy that I've actually sort of made a good start, a good dent on my reading goals. So I do apologise for any overlap because I have a video coming out in February, kind of early February, talking about some reading plans in general, and I think one or two of these I have briefly touched on. So hopefully this video explains it a little bit better, just because I didn't really have any like resolutions or anything like that, but as the month was going on I was thinking actually I have some reading goals, like proper ones, like a good amount, like that I can make a list for, that I want to try and focus on. So I thought I'd start this video by telling you guys those. So the first one is to read more on my Kindle and to generally be better with NetGalley. That's going good so far. I have read, I think, 2 books on my Kindle this month, and yeah, you know, obviously that goes hand in hand with being better with NetGalley, but in my mind that also means to stop over requesting books that I know I'm not going to get to straight away. So I mean, yeah, if I just read like a couple of NetGalley books specifically, then that will help out with that point. And in the reading plans video that's coming out shortly, that will be explained a little bit why, in some more context during that video, so hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. The other one is tackle unfinished series on my current reads. I think this is the second one that I mentioned briefly in that video that I keep referring to as well. Basically it's just dawned on me really that I've got so many unfinished series, whether they've completed or whether they're like ongoing series. I'm just in the middle of so many, and I'd like to narrow that down, preferably before I start any more, but just in general, so that I can complete things, because I I come out of the world for like quite a few years oftentimes, and getting back in it, sometimes I just feel like maybe I don't want to continue it, but once I start reading I'm back in that world again. Or maybe I'm just worried that I'd have to reread the whole series, and I'm not a big rereader, so sometimes that is a bit daunting for me, and it's just unsettling mentally in my mind, knowing that I'm in the middle of so many different worlds. I would like to have closure on some of them, and yeah, I've been making good progress with that as well, in terms of some of the books that I picked up during the month. I haven't finished any series yet, I don't think, but I'm, you know, going ahead and cutting some of those down. Then we have read more of my magazines. That's again, I could have done better this month, but I have one to mention. Basically I collect the Mind, Body and Spirit magazines by the publishers D'Agostini, and I have loads of these on my floor from where they've got like 4 or 5 magazines in them each, and I'm just so behind. I need to get cracking on that. Then we've got utilise my library more by continuing series that are not my favourites through the libraries, or beginning new ones through the libraries and only buying them if I really adore them. So that takes me back in the day when I used to utilise my library a lot. I still use it quite frequently, to be fair, but when I had to wait long periods like birthdays and Christmases because I was a child and I didn't have any money, I'd just go to the library, and then any books that I adored, I'd write the name down and, you know, or try to remember them for when I wanted to buy them, because back in those days as well I used to reread way more. So yeah, I just want to get back to that place. So basically, you know, what I said, just in case it didn't make any sense, I want to reiterate it. Any series is my voice just went, that are a little bit lackluster, but I would like to know how it ends, I will just draw the rest out from the library. I have been doing that last year actually. I did quite I was quite pleased with myself in doing it. Basically the Project Trilogy, I think it's called. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Well, anyway, that book with the spider in the corner of the room, I think that was the first book I had owned, and then the other 2 books, even though I really did enjoy the trilogy, I just ended up getting them from the library, and I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. I thought I would have felt a little bit more of an absence having unfinished series on my shelf, but seems right now that I don't really care, so that's cool. So I just want to continue that, and then anything else that sounds interesting to me but I'm not sure if I'm going to love it or whatever, I'll just see if I can find them in the library first and then only get them if I really do like them. So that was really rambly, I do apologise. Let's get on to the books that I managed to read. I feel like I've got barely anything to actually hold up and show you. Some of them, as I mentioned already, were on my Kindle, some of them were actually loaned to me. So yeah, the pile in front of me is a little bit deceiving because there's way more. I'm so happy with what I managed to read. I read a total of 7 books so far, and I'm really grand with that. Really grand. Does that even make sense? I don't know. So the first book I actually finished. I've got a book review coming out. I'm not too sure when I'll upload it. It might be one of those sort of rainy day videos where if I forget to make a video or don't have anything suitable for a specific time, I might just upload it. But that is Ransom Riggs's The Map of Days, which is the 4th book in what is now becoming like an extended series, I guess, of the Miss Peregrine's Home of Peculiar Children books. It was originally a trilogy, but Ransom Riggs has made it clear that he wants more books within this series. So obviously I will not go into depth about this because it's within a series. Told you guys I'm doing good with the series thing. Yeah, and this was the first book that I managed to finish. I ended up giving it a 4. Let me click on my actual review because sometimes I do 0.5 stars and stuff, so. But no, I gave it a 4 stars. I'm just going to leave it here because I feel like this video will get too long if I try to explain everything. But basically we're following a boy who, upon the passing of his grandfather, realises that there's this big secret world, I guess, that he had never really known, and he gets thrust into that, and it's really cool, and this is obviously just continuing on the story. So yes, video to come in due course. Then I read my first sort of ebook NetGalley book of the month, and that was Thin Air by Michelle Paver. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars, and let me tell you what it is about. The Goodreads thing explains it better, so I'll probably just be reading off of there. But it says, in 1935, young medic Stephen Pierce travels to India to join an expedition with his brother Kits. The elite team of 5 will climb Kanchenjunga, the world's 3rd highest mountain and one of mountaineering's biggest killers. No one has scaled it before, and they are, quite literally, following in the footsteps of one of the most famous mountain disasters of all time, the 1907 Lyell expedition. 5 men lost their lives back then, overcome by the atrocious weather, misfortune and mountain sickness at such high altitudes. Lyell became a classic British hero when he published his memoir, Bloody but Unbowed, which regaled his heroism in the face of extreme odds. It is this book that will guide this new group to get to the very top. So yeah, again, received through NetGalley, thank you very much. I'm really bad with responding and getting, I don't know, this is why I want to calm down on requesting books, because they obviously give you access in the hopes that you review it before it's out, so that you can get some hype buzzing, and I feel really bad because I don't really get to it in time. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, in terms of my opinion on this book, it was a little bit disappointing for me, honestly. I think I just wanted to read it because I must have recognised the author's name at the time. She is the creator of the ancient something, I don't know, but it's called Brother Wolf is the first book, something about the ancient people. I thought that's the series name or something. But it's very different to obviously the book that I had known the author from, and I was expecting it to be different. It's like a complete different premise, but I don't know, it was just definitely an author buy for me, if that makes sense, and it felt just a little bit flat. I mean, I don't really have a general interest in mountain climbing or anything like that. I read a previous book, The Christmas Sisters, and it focused on mountain climbing a little bit, so I guess that piqued my interest a little bit, and that maybe constituted to this being interesting to me even more. I don't know, but I mean, I don't now have the desire to go and climb mountains myself, so it didn't really fuel any flames for me there. However, in saying that, I do think the story itself was well done. I was getting interested by specifically our main character Stephen and his commentary of what was happening. I did end up being intrigued by it and wanting to know how it would wrap up and end. It was easy to read. I don't know, I just feel like for me, I don't know if the NetGalley description and the Goodreads differ, but for me it felt more like it was going to be a ghost story. And I think it even says in the title, or one of the titles, the most anticipated ghost story of whatever year. And it wasn't as chilling as I was hoping. I wanted to feel more eerie and creepy. I mean, granted, it did have some of those aspects, but it wasn't as in your face. It was definitely more about the mountain climbing and all of that, rather than the ghosty elements, which is what I was hoping would be the more standout point. So yeah, I mean, 3 stars, decent read, but just wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Then I read Black Cat Volume 14 by Kentaro Yabuki, again in the middle of a series, so cannot say too much more about this. Gave it 4 stars. I really do like how the story is progressing. I talk about this series quite a lot on my channel since I started reading it back in like summertime last year. Basically, we're following Train Hartnett, who is like a retired sort of political, global, governmental assassin. He's now a bounty hunter, but his past keeps coming to bite him in the butt. No matter how far he tries to run, things keep popping up that require his attention. And it's a really enjoyable book, really entertaining, funny, has its serious moments as well, and yeah, great manga series if you're out looking for something new to read, I guess. Then I read The Explorer by Catherine Rundle. This one I've also got a book review coming out for. Again, I'm not too sure when it's going to be uploaded, but I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. We're following 4 kids who get stranded in the Amazon rainforest, Amazon jungle, and they're basically trying to survive and figure out how to get home, and then something dawns on them. They might not be the first people to land here. So it just follows that, and it was quite entertaining. I will leave it there in case I ramble too much and basically redo my book review, which I've already got, so I'm going to stop talking. So another book I don't have on me anymore, my cousin Ebony loaned it to me. It is Skullduggery Pleasant Book 4, Dark Days by Derek Landy. So again, middle of a series, not so much I can say about this, but I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars. We're basically following the skeleton detective, Skullduggery Pleasant, and his partner in crime, Valkyrie, getting into a lot of bother. Basically, a lot of stuff's happened. You can feel like it's the beginnings of a major plot development sort of bubbling along, more obvious at times than others. It still has its like little episodic fighting, blah blah blah, catch the bad guy sort of thing, but there is a major sort of movement and a shift towards where you'd expect something big to happen. I believe someone had told me a while ago that originally it was set up to be like a trilogy of trilogies or something like that, so usually it builds up to every 3rd book where something big happens, but you can definitely feel that there is a bigger picture, so that was awesome as well. Then I actually read one of my magazines, so that is the Mind, Body, Spirit. This was issue 11, and we learned about like astrology, sleep, stress relief. These I want to start mentioning every now and then. I find them really good to read actually if you're interested in stuff like that. It's got a bit of tarot reading, it's got interpreting dream characters in this specific issue, which I love learning about dream analogy. I find it really interesting. So yeah, if you're interested in stuff like that, check out this magazine series. This is the one that I mentioned earlier where I've got like loads and loads I need to get through. But yeah, could have read more than one, but I just didn't. I don't know why. So another book, which is the second to last thing that I read, I don't have on me. This was actually a new release coming out. It is Fierce Fragile Hearts by Sarah Bernard. I don't know if it's Sarah or Sarah, I do apologise. I never know which one has the H and which one doesn't, and I don't know. And yeah, so this releases on the 7th of February in the UK, and it's actually a companion novel to Beautiful Broken Things, which released back in 2016 I believe. So it doesn't really spoil anything because there's like a big time difference, and it's like, I don't know, it's following the same characters but at a later stage in their life. Beautiful Broken Things though was basically following 3 characters. You've got Suze, Caddy and Rosie, and Suze is the new girl to the school, and she brings all this excitement because she's quite challenging as an individual, but everyone seems to just love her, and she comes in and basically, to Caddy, ruins their best friend duo, because Caddy and Rosie go to different schools, but they've been best friends since they were very little, and then all of a sudden Susie's here and Caddy just thinks she's going to be trouble. So this is like a continuation of the story, seeing how their lives have developed, changed for the better or for the worse, a couple of years later, and I ended up giving it a 5 stars. I really loved it. If you've read the first book, please go ahead and check out my Goodreads review and my NetGalley review as well if you'd like the same thing, just because I gushed a little bit. It was a really good book. I really did enjoy it, but I don't want to say too much in case it spoils anything for the original book. But yeah, I was super excited when I saw that they were coming out with like a companion novel, because I thought it was just going to be a standalone. And then lastly, I read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, which I really did enjoy. So obviously you guys know what Harry Potter's about. Again, this was like my first time reading it. I have a reading vlog coming out. I think it's going to be up around middle of February, hopefully, just because I'm hoping to combine it with the ayearathon, which is happening between the 4th and the 10th, I think it is, of February. And so I want to read, I think it's the Goblet of Fire, is it the fourth book, sorry, and then put both of those books in just one vlog. Kills 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. But yeah, I ended up giving this a 4 stars. That reading vlog's going to be more spoilery. I don't know if I said, I think I might have forgot to actually say, but it's my first time reading these books, so that's why I do my reading vlogs for them as well. And yeah, hello there, Editing Jen here. I totally forgot that I wanted to do a quick TBR. I've got a few books written down in my little bullet journal thing that I want to mention. So obviously I'm taking part in the ayearathon, which I briefly mentioned. That's from the 4th to the 10th, and the theme is Harry Potter. So it's the perfect time to continue on with the series and read book 4, which is The Goblet of Fire. The other books are sort of scattered around at the moment, but I hope to read, which actually is my current read, it's in my backpack at the moment, Skullduggery Pleasant number 5. I think that is Mortal Coil by Derek Landy. And then one of my ebooks that I want to read is The Water Cure. I'm not too sure who that one's by, but I think it's like literary fiction. I think it is some sort of cult inspired story. I'm not sure if it's inspired by a real cult or just the idea in general, but I really want to try that out. So I want to read The Final Empire, which I think is a Brandon Sanderson book. Sanderson, why did I say it like that? I haven't read any of his books yet, and it's been on my Instagram chooses my TBR, and I did that back in like the summertime, so I should really crack on with that. I've only read one book from there so far, from that TBR. And also, talking about that TBR, Crescendo by Becca Fitzpatrick I want to read. The first one, Hush Hush, was part of the Instagram chooses my TBR as well, and I wasn't intending to talk about both of them in my eventual wrap up for that TBR. However, there's a readathon going on not a readathon, sorry, it's like a read along throughout the whole of February, I believe, and it's hosted by Zafina, Bookish Babbles and Chandler Ainsley. So yeah, I think it's all month. I've not really checked too hard about the dates and that, but they did it for Hush Hush during January, and they had a live show in that, so it would be nice if I could read along with them, see if they do any Twitter reading sprints. That would be awesome. So yeah, back to past Jen. Those are all the books that I read during February? No. Let's go back. During January. I'm really happy with the amount I read. I feel like this video has been a little bit all over the place. I do apologise. I tried to be as articulate and focused as I possibly could, but to be fair, I'm still buzzing because I've just come in from volunteering at this reptile place that I go to, and I don't know, it always makes me happy and excited, so I'm still like jittery from that. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you have been reading during January. Do you have any reading goals yourself? Stay tuned to those videos that I mentioned. I'll try to link some of them in the cards whenever they're ready, in case anybody watches it at a later date. But for now, I shall speak to you in another video soon. Bye!
On this journey